Hi guys, Wessex Warlord here, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Warhammer Age of Sigmar starter set at the Warrior level. Now, I don't really play Warhammer anymore. I haven't played Warhammer in decades, and even 40k I haven't played for a very long time. And when I got back into the hobby after a long period of being completely ignorant to it, I found out that Warhammer Fantasy battles have kind of disappeared and were replaced by Age of Sigmar. A lot of the armies had changed their name and everything looked different. Some for better, some for worse, arguably. A lot of things were not very familiar to me anymore. And I've kind of, as I got back into the wargaming hobby, I've gone more into historical, I suppose. But also, I've been looking at a lot of these. I've been following everything that Games Workshop's been doing. Just haven't dipped into any of it. So, one of my recent trips to Warhammer World up in Nottingham, I've been several times this year. Strange for someone who doesn't actually play anything by Games Workshop, even though I do certainly buy the odd model here and there. But I saw this, and for £32.50, I mean, I fell in love with some of the models in the box set. I'll talk more about that when I've actually opened it. And it worked out sort of more cost effective to buy this entire starter set, really. What's interesting to see is, I'll just turn it around so you can see what you get on it. Obviously, there's a lot of talk, a lot of complaining that Games Workshop's very expensive or too expensive for what it is. I mean, I remember as a child, it wasn't necessarily a cheap hobby, but it's hard to judge the inflation of actually looking up on the internet. What I will say though is that it is a good thing that they have done different tiers of starter set, as it sort of enables. My sort of big problem is if these big starter sets cost I think £120 they sell for in if you were to buy it from Games Workshop. I mean, it's okay, yeah, it's the sort of level of money you could spend on a birthday or Christmas present. But even so, like, you know, not for everyone, of course, but that's potentially going to be a main present. Whereas, at least with these smaller starter sets, I think it's a very good way of getting children into it, or teenagers into it, at a fairly cheap level without having to spend the money on the bigger set. So we can see on the back what you get in it. So Stormcast Eternals are a completely new army to me. I know they've been around for a few years now, and I've kind of seen these golden sort of guys. I know they get called Sigmarines, and other than that, there's very little I know about them. But these guys, the Cruel Boys, I mean, wow, when I saw these, I really thought they were amazing. Bit of a departure from the classic greenskin orc, which obviously Games Workshop's kind of, I don't know if they were the first people to depict orcs as that, but I know it's taken off. If you go onto any 3D printing site or Etsy or whatever, the orcs sort of follow that green skin, the old-fashioned Warhammer orc, or Orc as they know in the Age of Sigmar. I mean, even Warcraft took that sort of design and ran with it, probably to a degree, arguably. Don't hate me for saying it, but probably more recognisable as a brand than Warhammer is to the layman or to the general public. So it was quite interesting to see these Cruel Boys orcs, because they kind of look to me like they still have that green skin element of the sort of the big face, not quite as big, not a huge jaw, of the green skins, but they do also have an element of the sort of orcs you see in Lord of the Rings. So it's quite interesting design, but also I did note that they had the classic shields, which look absolutely amazing on the back of there. So what I'll do is I'll put this down and try and get it in a good space. I mean, the camera's not great at the moment. I haven't got the equipment really, because I'm doing this on the cheap really, these videos. If it takes off, then I might get some better kit, but at the moment this is probably the best view I can give you. So I'll open the box, and as you just note as well, I'll have to lift the camera up again. £32.50 is the retail price from Games Workshop. Be a bit cheaper if you got it from your friendly local game store or from a third party site, which Games Workshop tend to deal with now. I don't think they really did that when I was younger. I think they were the only place you could get it from, but now it seems they sort of not franchise out, but they stock with a lot of other people. So I'll just move this. I'm going to use a scalpel because Core Guys only unbox with scalpels. And once I've done that, I'll put it back in the box and not use it until I do another unboxing. You can't even see me use it, so it's kind of a wasted effort. But normally I just go all fingers and thumbs in and tear the shrink wrap off the box in complete excited rage as to see what's inside it. So the wrap is coming off. Again, I'm not sure this is a great view, but we'll keep it going for now. So I grew up in the era of the starter sets that were, I think they retailed at £50, and you had sort of 2 small armies in. So let's have a look what we can see in here. So move the camera in. So first of all, the classic white dice you can find in every Games Workshop starter set that I'm aware of. I'll put them there. I'll probably never open them because I've got dozens of them I've never opened before. Circular bases. So one thing I noticed as well, obviously I grew up in the age of Warhammer Fantasy being rank and flank on the 20mm squares or the 25mm squares. On this one it looks like they've kind of followed how 40k opposed have gone. They've got different sizes. I don't know how that reflects in the game, if it's a sort of base size for certain types of units or if it's just dependent on model size, and I imagine each unit's completely different in the way they play. I can imagine there's not much uniformity in it. So the first thing we can find here, it is a sprue of the, I don't know if it's going to say on here what it is. It does not, so I'll have to look on the box. So this is, it looks like there's 3 men on it, there's at least 3 shields. So this would be the Stormcaster tools, maybe the standard ones on there. And this looks like it is the killer boss. So I mean, one thing I noticed as well, there's a lot more sort of terrain made into the sort of bases now, as you can see here with this brickwork and here with this dead Stormcast, and even this here looks as a sort of plant of some sort. This is great. I think it's great because it saves a lot of time basing, especially for people that get into the hobby. You just paint it like you would any other part of the model. Might take away the sort of creativity, but I mean, by the time you're sort of at that level anyway, you can fiddle with it yourself, and you can probably get the figure on the base without having to put that on there. And there's the killer boss there without his helm on, and again, classic oversized axe, which is you come to expect that with Warhammer. One thing I did notice with newer models as well is that it's the sort of there's a lot less customization. It kind of you just click it together, and that's the part for it. They have a sort of similar pose, which I guess back when I was a child, that would have been these figures would have been metal models. So this one's the is this one possibly the Knight Arcanum. I don't know how you pronounce that. Previously the metal models, they were that was the pose. Obviously you could convert them a little bit. These ones seem a bit more. Even though they are in pieces in a sprue, it kind of, I think, defeats the purpose of putting it on a sprue. If it's just going to have one look, you may as well make it as a single piece metal or resin. But again, I guess it's down to cost, because this probably costs them a lot less to make than it would if they sold it as a lump of metal or resin. And this one here this looks like the Stormcast. So I don't know how many you get in there. You get those. Looks like there's 2 men on each sprue actually, so that's about right, yeah. So again as well, you've got the emblem cast into the flag. So it seems gone are the days of sort of painting your own, or even the sort of paper or stickers. Were they stickers or paper? Yeah, they were sticky adhesive sheets of flags that I remember. But again, this is an entry-level game, so this is perfect for kids getting into the hobby, and even adults, to be fair, that might be a stranger to the world of wargaming. So this is what I'm really after. These orcs, and you can just see these shields here. Absolutely fantastic. Really remind me of the old sort of orc and even chaos sort of faces on. And some companies still do things like that. I think Foundry still do that. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I've definitely seen some about. Maybe Die Hard Miniatures, people like that do them, but these look great, and I'm really looking forward to. There's a lot of character on the faces there. You can see that. That's just brilliant. I'm really looking forward to getting those together. Now let's have a look at everything else. So this is this looks like the gaming mat. So it's quite common because I have a lot of my familiarity with Ghost products are with the magazine subscriptions. So I did the complete Conquest one, and I had a few issues of the Imperium, I think it was called, the next one. So it's quite common now to have these sort of paper. I'm not going to open it up too much because you can't really see anything. It's two-sided. It's really shiny, actually. Really, really good finish on it. You know, there's some detail there, some rocks and some skeletons or something. On the other side, some sort of hard ground there. Again, skeletons and rocks. This is really good. This is a game within a box, I think. This is perfect for people starting in the hobby who haven't got these huge, you know, this 8x4 gaming mats or gaming tables with built pieces and terrain on it. This is perfect to get you started. So let's have a look. Everything else here is in a packet together. So these replace the old red pointy sticks, which I've got dozens of hanging around. Really handy, actually. I have used them before in other games because if you've got angles to turn, they're really good at bending. Better so than the obviously the old red pointy sticks didn't bend really at all to any angle, and even tape measures a bit harder than metal. These ones are really nice and bending. But again, I've already got quite a few of those hanging around. So we'll have a look inside this packet. This looks like it's going to be the it looks like quite a thick rulebook, actually, which I'm quite surprised at, because from memory, the more sort of starter sets they made and the smaller sets, they tended to be a lot slimmer. But again, I haven't seen the one that you would buy on its own, so I'm not going to open it up too much because I'll probably get done for copyright rules. But I mean, the artwork on it is fantastic. I'm not too much of a fan of the way the Sigmarites look, Stormcats look. They do kind of look like they were created just to sort of be a fantasy version of a Space Marine, and they look alright. But I mean, if that was a hero, then yeah. But they all kind of look like they should be the hero of a you know, ancient Greek army or something. But I mean, this is a really nice finish on the book because it's paperback, but it's quite a solid finish. I was expecting a really light paper rulebook, and it says Warrior Edition, so I'm not sure how many rules are in it and how much less than the other tiers of starter set. I can't imagine too much really. But again, without actually looking at those, I couldn't tell you. But this is a really nice book, actually. It would sit really nice on the shelf. And probably be quite durable on the gaming table, because some people do tend to get them quite battered. So this is, read this first. So this is about to stick the models together. And again, because it's less of the same sort of uniform bodies and you customise them, it is specific parts on those sprues will fit together. Hence the reason this is quite a big book. It looks like each one, there's a guide for each individual model of how to put it together. Rules reference. I won't hold that too long because it will show rules that might get the video taken down for copyright. But yeah, again, rules reference are always handy to have. Sort of a thick card, a hard card. I've got two of those actually, so I don't know if they're the same ones. It looks like they are actually. So that's one for each player. And some cards, stat cards. So I was going to say maybe the Warrior rulebook would have the statistics for those for the models you get with it, and then each, that would be the only difference in each tier's rulebook, is that they would then have the more models statistics depending on what they came with. But they've gone around that by just doing these stat cards. I don't know whether their stats are in the book, but these are perfect. Really nice pictures of the models as well, rather than just an illustration, or or a stock photo of a white background. These are really nicely done. Allegiance abilities on that one, so I'm not sure what that is because I'm not familiar with the game, but obviously I will be as I flip through the rule book. Oh, and even then, this is surprising actually. This is core rules, so I don't know how this differs from the big red book that I looked at a minute ago, but the Warrior Edition. But that'd be the core rules, so that'd be how to play. So there's not too much in the way of paperwork really. You've got your reference sheets, you've got the cards, which make the game a lot easier. So these it's quite thick, but I don't think they'd be too hefty to sort of not long before you can just start playing. So again, and the box as well turned over is the you can see there is the bit of terrain. I'm not sure what the building's called. I'm not that familiar with the lore currently. I'm a bit out of date with it, but maybe having a flick through the book will bring me up to date, and maybe this might be a new venture for me. But otherwise, I think this is really good. And I'm the first to complain about Games Workshop maybe not being as accessible to young kids. I mean, I come from the day in the early 2000s when you'd get shoved in Games Workshop for the day with £5 in your pocket, or sometimes even less. But you could still always come out with a few models, a metal blister or something. And now, obviously, with inflation, everything's a lot higher. So I think this is actually, I would probably take back some of the things I said. This is a really good starter set. Again, this is the smallest one you can get with the rules. I think there are starter sets where you kind of get started in the hobby, so it comes with like a model and a couple of paints or something, but I've not really looked at that. But again, there's I think 2, maybe 3 tiers above this one, and for £32.50, I think that is that's a really good way to get started. Obviously, the model count is it's quite high really, because it is more of a skirmish rather than the old rank and flanks. That's quite a few you get really. It's a good way to start. You've got your boss in your sort of your troops. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the game's actually like. Maybe I'll do another video on that. Bye for now.